interested in learning how to make the perfect cup of coffee, well, thankfully we have the expert here, Joel, from Joel's Coffee. You get a lot of people coming in asking you all sorts of coffee questions.
Yeah.
What types of questions do you get?
I guess the most often the question I get is, how do I store coffee? Can I put it in the fridge? Answer is no, definitely not.
No?
No, you want to store coffee, ideally whole bean, for 2 weeks or so. You can leave it just on the shelf. If you have too much coffee to just leave out in the open for 2 weeks, half of it goes in the freezer in a sealed bag. That's the trick.
Okay, and how long is it going to last in the freezer in a sealed bag?
Well, you're asking a coffee roaster, so in my opinion, about 2 days.
Okay.
But it'll last for a couple of weeks and it'll still be okay.
Okay, so then now if you're recommending that people purchase the whole bean, similar to what you're roasting here at the store, the question then from there is, do you need a grinder?
It's certainly getting a grinder, getting a good grinder, is the first step to take in getting a better cup of coffee at home. So grinding that coffee fresh every morning, or twice a day, 3 times a day, it makes a big difference in the quality of coffee that you're drinking.
Okay, and then now how much does the machine come into play? I think a lot of people have that $15, $20 coffee machine at home. Yeah. Is that doing justice for delicious beans like the ones you're roasting here?
It depends. Usually it depends, to be honest, depends when it was purchased. Recently, you can get some really cheap machines that are worth what you pay for. But even like
So not very good.
Not very good, no.
Okay.
And the problem really is heating the water. Do they heat the water? So usually your grandmother's machine is probably better suited to making a good cup of coffee, because at least it heats the water properly. Newer machines don't.
Why is the temperature of the water so important?
Well, to get a good extraction of the flavor out of the coffee, the water does need to be quite hot. So the sort of cheap trick a manufacturer can use to make an inexpensive coffee machine is to not really warm the water before it hits the beans, but rather to warm the coffee on the heating plate.
Okay.
Which makes for a terrible cup of coffee.
Oh no, okay, so that's part of the problem. Now after you make that fresh pot of coffee using the directions that you've just given, how long can it sit on that burner before you need to dump it out and make yourself a new pot?
It can't really sit on that burner at all.
No?
No, your best bet is to get something like this, where you have a thermal carafe, which will keep the coffee hot without actually keeping an element on underneath. That's the real trick to it. Otherwise, even 5 minutes on the burner, it'll start to taste burnt.
So it's kind of like a thermos then?
Yeah, it's exactly a thermos.
Okay, so let's say you've got that cheap pot at home, you could take it off that burner and put it in a thermos.
Exactly. Yeah.
And last throughout the morning. Okay, and what would you say is the cream of the crop in terms of coffee machines here at the shop?
There's 2 sort of different preparations for making coffee at home, and there's either espresso based or regular coffee, which usually call it regular coffee, basically some sort of filter. So making espresso, basically looking at one of these machines. So what makes it an espresso is that you have steam that's pushed under pressure through your coffee grinds. That's what an espresso is. Regular coffee is just hot water that pours through the grinds.
And so the difference between the two?
Machines. Oh, very different. In terms of taste and in terms of the type of cup of coffee that you're drinking, very different. Completely different tastes.
So much to learn. And you said that you get so many people in here asking you questions anyway, so if you have more, by all means, come into the shop and ask Joel or one of his 2 brothers your questions, or head to their website and check out all of the information. Very informative website. Thank you so much for having us this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you.
What a nice day. Stick around. There's still lots more coming up on CTV Morning Live.